Alright, what's up? We have a new chapter of Attack on Titan. Despite the fact that the series is more depressing than it's ever been, really making some bold anti-natalistic arguments, making every single character somehow filling you with both remorse, pity, and hatred, all simultaneously. And just diving further and further into this endless gray hell of moral ambiguity. The cover is so much fun. Look, they're playing presumably poker, but kind of like a weird variant of poker where Aaron seems to have discarded his two cards, hands or face up, which you don't typically do. Um, oh, what's his face here? Oh my god, I'm sorry. His name has totally slipped my mind. You know, the guy. He's always kind of. Anyways, he's got a royal flush, which is the best hand, of course. And Jean has a handful of nothing. An impressively bad hand, in fact. This is a weird mixture of like very kind of modern things. Like Mikasa here is sipping on a cute little pineapple cup. Definitely a plastic or ceramic mug that they would not make inside the walls. I don't know why she's not playing. She just doesn't really want to play, I guess. Whereas, and everyone is still wearing like very kind of old traditional clothing. I think. I don't know. Very strange, right? Where does this kind of take place in the continuity and reality of the series? It doesn't really matter either, because obviously none of these people are casually hanging out and playing cards anymore. Instead, we see they've infiltrated the cell where Gabby is being held. The Aaron was coming to see them, and then the cart titan, this woman came in, smacked the guard, said, "Grab the rifle, Gabby," and pointed at Aaron. "Hands out of your pockets. If I refuse, then I'll pull the trigger and your veins will start across the floor. You've seen that happen before. You won't have time to titanize." Why have you not shot me? I'm gonna pull that trigger right now while I come here. What do you do if I keep my hands in my pockets? No, I do know you're not going to shoot. So Aaron, not at all fazed by this threat, even though a loaded gun is pointed straight at his face and she's just killed somebody else. Even though she's totally right and he wouldn't have time to titanize after taking a bullet at that point blank range. Do not have the authorization to kill the original Titan. Orders to bring the original Titan back alive at all costs. That's for a moment you're going to turn into a Titan and swallow me will keep me alive. Yeah, I think he's right. Because look, she tells Gabby, remove your finger from the trigger. Knowing that Gabby's trigger finger is pretty itchy. No, that's not a laughable matter. Why did I laugh? Why did I make a silly gesture? when my reference point here is that she killed a beloved character and has seen the horrors of war and is seemingly ready to kill again just in defense of Miss Pick. Fire orders, it won't just be you who pays the price, but your family back in the ghetto will pay dearly as well. Aaron shouting at her while pressing the gun against his forehead. Don't shoot. I think it would be impossible to eat you anyways. You really found the Titan footprints that I left behind when I infiltrated the area, didn't you? Okay. How fast and sneak in before you took action to find me, so I'm happy I made it this far. If you can use the original Titan's power, then maybe you can defeat Marley. Oh. So even though she was pretty loyal to the Marleyan army, even though she was one of the Titans they counted on their side, deep down, she's actually for the liberation of the Eldian people. But it's not like she's going super double triple agent here. I think she's more just kind of feeling Aaron out. right? Like, she understands Aaron's got the original Titan's power. He can use the world-flattening weapon, pull all the Titans out of the walls, and just go stompy stompy. And she's like, wait a minute, maybe this is actually what I want more than anything. So yeah, at this point, again, owing to this extreme moral ambiguity, it's like everyone has to make their own individual choice. There's nobody who's just on Team A or Team B anymore. It's all just gonna come down to each individual choice. And here we have our Scouting Legion remnants. This guy whose name still eludes me. It's like Corrin? Is that right? Corrin? Or am I thinking of the Fire Emblem character? Corey? Colin? Something like that. Ah, man. Just having a tea in a chat. Armin, of course, still the Colossal Titan. He makes a good point. Can't you use your Titan power and get out of here? But, yeah, that's true. The Colossal Titan's Titanification is even more violent and extreme than the others. Insofar as, yeah, a gigantic shockwave goes out. Everyone basically gets nuked. And, you know, he would get away. He's looking pretty chipper, though. Like, well, this is just my lot right now. Sitting here in prison drinking tea. Also, Titan isn't capable of pulling off so delicate, unlike Aaron. He didn't seem... He looks like he's okay now. He kind of did get the poop beaten out of him at the time, but it seems okay. Saying things that hurt Mikasa's feelings, so I tried hitting him. Got beaten up in return. Ooh, so nobody else knows about this whole Ackerman family thing, I guess. And when Armin goes to explain it here, it seems like Mikasa doesn't really want the deep secret, that final twist that she was basically just kind of a slave the whole time. I was thinking earlier when I was saying, you know, everyone at this point is just making their own individual choices. There's no real sides anymore. I thought maybe Mikasa or Levi as Ackermans are somewhat of an exception, and that they're more just duty-bound. But we've seen, it's more just like the immediate danger situation, right? We've seen them kind of scheme and make kind of longer-term decisions on their own. Reset. So that asshole has turned completely rotten. Hiding the two people who are most important to him like this, for no good reason. It's right in mind that I don't think he would do something like that for no reason. Maybe there's some meaning to it. So, like, how many layers is there at this point? How many schemes? There's some meaning to it. Here's Flatch. The reunion has to happen through iron bars. It's a nice scene. Just kind of the framing of this, the way they walk in, kind of from off panel. Yeah, this sort of thing. And house arrest and dragging me around. That's rather selfish. Till Zeke and Aaron come in compact, all stay here and behave yourselves. Aaron used you as an in-between, started doing Zeke's bidding, attacked him early. Okay. People hold Eldia and the power of the original Titan in the palm of your hands. So destroy Marley and get revenge for your homeland. And this is kind of what the Cart Titan was thinking too. Entire soldier's real goal all along. Why did you come to this island in the first place? ones who sided with the devils and betrayed us. Good old Spoony is some descendant of the devil girl who stinks of potatoes. Niccolo, of course, the waiter who had fallen in love, the chef waiter guy who had fallen in love with sorry, my mind is like blank right now. I've had a long day at work. Maybe I don't have the mental energy to read this right now. But it had just come out, and I was like, finally I can read it right when it comes out. But sorry, my brain is going slow motion right now. And remembering characters' names is just, it's difficult. It's like, it's weird how memory works, you know? Because as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, obviously. And the pathing that failed to reach it in the first place, in retrospect, seems like it was totally fine. Like, you realize, like, oh, I actually knew on some level, like, I was feeling around in the right zone. And it's not even so much that you can't remember it because it's, like, gone. It's just that you can't make that final, like, grasping step where the name actually, like, is articulated in your head. It was weird. Like, as soon as they mention her name, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, of course, of course. Bitch was a dirty, blooded devil. Oh! And Yelena just one-shots him. Okay. Deeply apologize for his impertinence. Okay. No longer require those comrades who'd use such abusive words towards the Aldeans on this island. True goal is not something as redundant as exerting revenge on Marley. The goal is to sever the chain of hatred that ties down the world and save both Marley and Eldia. Tell you the truth in its entirety about Zeke's secret ploy to save the world and about his plan of merciful killing. Okay, so Yelena, see, this was confusing to me. When Zeke kind of, during the flashback, we learned about his kind of anti-natalistic plan. We're going to spare all future Eldians of suffering by just wiping out the whole race. And I wasn't really sure. Is this his personal plan? Is this something Eren is on board with? Is this something Yelena and that faction is on board with? Is this the plan all along? Like, is this the plan as he conveyed it to Raynor and Bernthold secretly? Or, like, were they just entirely on the Marley plan? You know, many, many layers of subtlety in these sort of schemings. Like, each sort of subgroup of people, each permutation of conspirators could potentially have a completely different understanding of what the actual final objective is. But it looks like Yelena, at least, is on board with this merciful killing of all the Eldian people. But I don't think that's going to go over well with, you know, these Eldians sitting in this jail cell here. Especially now that Yelena has shown, she's like, well, I might as well get started. Like, this guy's gone, you know. He's going to die eventually, so just take care of him. Just turn the whole world into an enemy without any real prospects of victory. Any other means of victory besides the power of the original Titan. And Gabby is super confused because she's still ride or die Marleyan loyalist. And she thought Piek was as well, right? Like, she really had no idea. Freedom to the Eldians who are controlled by the world and by Marley as soon as possible. Have my family released from the ghetto. You're thinking small. What if I told you your family didn't need to be released from the ghetto because they were dead? Does that do anything for you? Came a warrior so that my father, the only family I have left, will be able to receive decent medical treatment. The treatment prolong my father's life. He lives in sadness now, knowing that I have a term at the end of which end I will die. The end of which end I will die. Oh, I think there's just a typo here. It's just an extra end. In order for that to happen, Marley must be crushed. I'll cooperate however necessary. It's killing Marleyans, then I'll do just that. Now this is really sad. Like, this kind of feeling to me is that Piek here just is kind of missed the boat, so to speak. Not the boats that, you know, Armin was throwing around, but just kind of, she's like one iteration of the plan behind. And yet she's still making this huge sacrifice, this huge betrayal of everything that she's worked for so far. Willing to, like, put her life on the line, make herself an enemy of the Marley kingdom. And yet Eren is just going to be like, that's not what we're doing. Like, yeah, that's not what we're doing. You're going to die. We're all going to die. Right? Mastermind behind the attack on Marley was Mr. Zeke. Behind it too, Miss Piek. No. She... I think at that point she was still Marleyan loyalist. She got tricked. She fell in the hole. Blah, blah, blah. She... What are we even fighting for? I thought we would prove the world that they're good Eldians, then eventually Eldia will be freed. You're just like Zeke, you're a traitor, aren't you? We are... Marleyans are Eldians, what do you think? No, we are the people of Ymir. That's a truth you cannot escape. No matter what name we take on, we are still humans that can turn into titans. The power of the titans will sooner or later become irrelevant. Sooner or later, Marley will have no use for us and kill us all. That's like, I guess, the other side of this, the irrelevancy of Titans. First off, that Marley realized that they were losing their military advantage, and then there was the whole kind of plot of the Dunbar family. I had confidence there. That was like where you feel yourself grasping for it, but you didn't actually look around, so you're not really sure what you're grasping. But I think they were the Dunbar family. Okay, so yeah. But that was kind of the other side of it that I didn't really consider that much until now, which is that beyond just having Titans as a weapon or Titans as this fear-mongering thing that allowed them to have kind of political power, eventually, once those two things, those wells are dry, yeah, the Eldians are just useless. And genocide probably follows. I think she's right on the money here. We keep trying to prove that we're good Eldians. The day that we are free will still never come. No choice but to take back our human rights with our own two hands. And then Eren says, prove it. If you're really intending to cooperate, I want to see some proof. And he's cut himself. He's preparing to titanize. What could she do to prove herself in this case? I don't know. Tell you the locations of my comrades hidden in this city. Take me to the roof of the building, and I can simply point them out to you. And Eren's fine with it. I feel like, you know, until he meets up with Zeke, until they have the power of the original Titan entirely within their grasp, these are the games he has to play, right? Because basically everyone else is trying to kill him. So him cooperating here makes sense, even if in the end all of this is pretty irrelevant. And I assume, I still kind of think that there must be some other layer that exists only in Eren's brain. I feel like he's really different than Zeke in this philosophy of it's better to just preemptively prevent the suffering of others by wiping everyone out. The way he talks about freedom and stuff, the kind of drive he's had throughout the entire series, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's still something going on. Ooh, won't be able to have children anymore. Ah, yes. That's the modification that he's going to try to make with the power of the original Titan. Basically a blanket sterilization of the entire Eldian race. Suffering in the world that results from the existence of the Titans will disappear slowly and peacefully. Consider that peaceful. The relation keeps timing until the people of Ymir is extinct. Country's final years draw closer. All that we left are a bunch of feeble old men and women. Saying other countries will just leave us be? Turning power of the earth flattening weapon. Right. Continuing existence of both the royal family and the original Titan are essential. Sure. Queen Astoria already blessed with a hair. Yes, yes. The people who've been... Okay, okay. Once that happens, everything will be perfect. I mean, there's a lot of logic to this plan. And it's like... The arguments for anti-natalism in real life, to me, are in many ways very convincing. I would call myself an anti-natalist overall. And this is like strictly clearer than real life in terms of what ought to be done to me. I don't know. I don't really want to get into it, honestly. Perfection, certainty, these things don't exist in any country. Every country has its problems. Only certain things. There are those who step forward to put an end to the long history of fear, blood, and tears caused by the existence of the Titans. So Zeke and Aaron. How many more millennia are left for human history? I wonder we'll even be able to compare to a great achievement such as this. Those brothers will be the subject of tales in many millennia to come, and they'll become a symbol, like the gods of old. I don't think that's necessarily true. Who's going to be around to venerate them? From other countries' perspectives, it's like the Eldians just remain holed up on Paradise. There's still the threat of the earth flattening weapon that looms over them, and then they just die out, and like no one really notices. You know, I don't think they're going to be able to trace it back to Zeke and Aaron. No, I don't know. I don't know. This is like just Yelena's kind of weirdness. Revered as the savers of humanity, their memory will be like a bright sun shining down. Know your intentions are so noble. I'm just so touched. Is this sincere? Do you think? Is this sincere? I don't think so. Yelena cries a little bit in response. Once intruders have infiltrated the city. These are the other Marlians, the ones that now Piek and Aaron are trying to like spot out, right? Possess the power of the cart titan. Trade Marley, Mr. Yeager said so. Okay. So the news of all of this has spread quite quickly. Sorry if I were to join your side. Try titanizing the girl will be reduced to a pulp. That's smart. That's very brutal. these like tiny little psychological type torture type things, you know, like Armin being in the prison there and not being able to titanize because he'd kill everybody, and it all speaks to this larger theme, I think, of the double-sidedness of all these weapons, just the innate destructive quality they have, that they can never really be used for good, quote unquote, that they're always going to have some sort of risk to hurt the ones you love bound up within them. Great. Side, nice to meet you. Bucko is here too. But some Zeke's final fluid in his mouth. He got some contaminated wine in his mouth. Do you know why Zeke has such a special ability? No idea. So I understood why, except Zeke himself. Since I met him, I've had the feeling Zeke was constantly lying about something. 4 years ago, I finally got my proof. Gut feeling was right. So she's known that Zeke was not sincere in his support of the Marleyan army for 4 years now. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's also pretty brutal. Again, just all of these tiny little plot threads, when you kind of pull on them and you really see how interwoven something like that is, that for 4 years she had known that Zeke was lying to everyone, and then it was just up to her to make her own decisions about this. What is she going to do? Is she also going to betray? so on and so forth. That's a sad life. That's an intensely painful life. So when he laid eyes on you, that I heard him speak truthfully for the first time. Please believe me, I am on your side, Aaron. One of these days, I will come back and save you. He wouldn't lie to you, then wouldn't he also tell you the secret behind his special abilities? There's something about how the special ability is connected to how you can utilize the power of the original Titan. Just like another woman I know. It's getting so... well, this is a nice shot. Up on the top of the castle, looking out in the walled city. After all these years, after 116 chapters, we're still behind these walls. Use the power of the original Titan. Where is Zeke? Know soon if we can ascertain the positions you've indicated for your comrades, that is. Show me, where is the enemy? Look at this. Think about what Gabi is feeling. Jeez, this is just so rough. Just on any given panel, you can just be like, think about what so-and-so is feeling, and then it's just like a big dark pit of anger and fear and despair. What's she doing now? What's she doing now? What does this mean? What does this smile mean? How many layers of betrayal are you on? Right here. So these guys are super deep cover Marlians? Who's gonna pop out the ground? Oh! Is that the Jaw Titan? He came along for the ride too? Oh man. Okay. We're gonna have a good old-fashioned Titan fight. So late in the game. This is what it all comes down to, I guess. And Aaron loses his legs. That's not enough, but you know, that's not good. Has to tighten eyes in response, of course. You can see the inside of his legs right here. This is pretty gruesome. Aaron titanizing. The catch. Peck's not really a traitor. We have no future even if we do serve Marley. Oh, the Marley and Zeppelins. It's like a full raid now. This is like an outright war between Marley and Eldia and the Devils of Paradise Island, who are, you know, also subdivided into 3 factions now, all fighting each other. Good. Don't believe in Marley. I do wish for the freedom of the Eldians. But I do believe in my comrades alongside whom I've been fighting for so long. And this is, of course, the guy that was leading lots of military forces during Aaron's big surprise attack on the mainland, leading these Zeppelin platoons. All right. It's revenge for Rebellio. We will put an end to that bastard. Okay. All right. Everything is happening now. Zeke is still way out in the countryside with his little convoy there. What's her face swimming down river with the nearly probably totally lifeless body of Levi. Oh, now the Zeppelins are here. I'm still trying to think of Sasha. Yes! Yes! There it is. There it is. Okay. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. This series is getting insane. Um, we will. Yeah. I don't know. Uh, uh,